By 4 years old, I think I was already branded that I was unwanted, I was unworthy, and I was unloved, and I was alone, you know, and all I had was my baby sister. And she was the most important thing to me, to protect her and to keep her away from predators. When I was like 6 years old, I got adopted, me and my sister both, which was a real big blessing. And then all the trauma began, you know, the trauma continued on. And my adoptive father started molesting me after grooming me for a few years. And I think by the time I was like 9 years old, something snapped inside of me. After all that, you know, from the time I was born until up to then, I just snapped and I started running away, probably around like age 11. And I ran to the streets and I ran and I ran and I ran, you know, and I used my body as a tool. I used my body to get whatever it is I needed as far as food, clothing, and shelter.
I started the Butterfly Project a year ago as a resource for women who were leaving different situations. It could be drug programs, or leaving domestic abuse situations, or leaving the sex trade. They range in someone's financial services, counseling, and different ways to help these girls on their journey to their own success, whatever that means to them. You cannot judge a book by its cover, because everyone has a story. Everyone has a sad story. Everyone's been through something. Everyone has climbed some kind of hurdle that they faced in their life.
I was about 15, 16 years old. When I first got into that, I was introduced to a lot of girls that were like 16, 17, and then as I started to like grow up a little bit more, I started meeting girls that were 14, 15 years old.
You know, I became a young mom when I was 16 when I had my first child.
Well, in my experience, I was sexually exploited at a very young age. I left home quite young at 15 and had a boyfriend who had 3 friends that assaulted me during one summer. It was pretty hard and pretty traumatizing on my whole identity and my worthiness and my self-esteem. And I ended up in the sex trade for a few years.
When I was about 12 years old, I started doing drugs to help cope with my mental health issues. And that was just something I did to help me cope with not feeling loved and cared about. I've been experiencing mental health issues since I was about 7 years old, and then the using drugs kind of led me into this world where I was introduced to my former pimp, and I was entered into the world of prostitution.
For a long time I thought that I was a bad kid because I was doing this while I was a kid. And I wasn't a bad kid, I was a hurt kid. So that's taken a while. It's hard.
The only way that I knew how to survive was to, you know, start prostituting, and, you know, it just kind of, I guess, snowballed. And if it's even one person that gets better, then it could show us a lot more women that you are worthy, you can live a better life.
This was a way, I thought, to give them another resource to help them feel good, and maybe get their hair done or their teeth fixed. I have a number of different professionals that provide services at no charge to these ladies.
The Butterfly Project is great because it really helps to bring the community together and really builds awareness for the type of issues that we have at hand.
We chose hair and beauty being what we do, something that we can offer for these girls. I think a lot of people look at hair and beauty and they think that, oh well, that's just something on the outside, but they really don't realize how important that is to, you know, self-esteem and to confidence.
Nven is very much about empowering people to become their best selves.
Just capturing on the outside what people really are on the inside.
It was amazing to see how they transformed from when they first walked into the shop, and then when they left, their energy was completely different. When they were about to leave, they were taking selfies, they were dancing. The energy was much higher, and you could really tell that they loved themselves and who they'd seen when they looked in the mirror.
The first moment we turned them around in the chair and they got to see themselves in the mirror, you know, they were tearing and it was genuine. They were dancing around in the shop. They were so ecstatic about how they felt, and that shift is something that is going to have a huge impact on the rest of their life.
Oh my God, I'm so freaking, I'm just really happy. I'm like, ugh, I don't want to swear. Because it's so beautiful, and it's more than what I expected. I'm excited.
Like I really kind of saw myself, and it was kind of, you know, like I kind of gasped, you know, I didn't know whether to cry or to laugh, or, you know, it felt good to be able to look at myself.
My new hair makes me feel sophisticated and mature and confident.
You feel fabulous. I feel like a woman. I feel just beautiful inside and out. I feel like I'm shining.
Oh my god, like I said, I'm ready to take on the world. I'm a champion. And you know, like I feel like a winner today.
It's just a real honor, and like what these people do, and the work, and just everything that goes into this.
I hope that people could have a little bit more compassion when they're looking at each other.
You think about what actually happens to a young person at that time, and you start to understand, okay, how can this start happening to somebody's life?
It just takes a vulnerable person in a place where they don't know where they belong, or they don't know how to survive on their own. Add some sexual trauma into that, and it's a perfect recipe for someone to start.
Everybody has a story, no matter what they look like, and you don't know what has happened to them to get them to where they are today.
Understand that it's way more common than society kind of makes us believe.
But it's about using our voices and bringing awareness and educating, you know, ourselves, and not just turning the other cheek or just saying, oh, that's just part of life, because it doesn't have to be like this.
And there's always hope for recovery and to change your life around.
I'm ready to take on the world, to be honest.